Well, good morning, everybody, and happy Labor Day. I just thought that I would go live. I'm sure that a lot of you out there are facing some challenges today, whether it's dealing with family, whether it's dealing with friends, maybe people who I don't know, just people who might criticize your way of eating or passing up on, some of those great desserts. And I mean, even the, the fruits, I mean, the watermelon and stuff like that, stuff that might seem kind of tame, but yet you know that it's not in your best interest to have. Or, I mean, I have a confession to make here. Um, I don't drink alcohol very often, but on occasions like this, it was just a part of life to, have a like a seltzer or two, or maybe a beer or two. I'm not a very big beer drinker, but on occasions like this, I would do that. And so I'm, it's a struggle sometimes to abstain from these things. So I just thought that if anybody's out there and they have some things that they just want to share, um, feel free to come on in and share your stories or share your challenges that you're going with, and just let the group come together, and we can support you and love you through this. And so come on, y'all. I don't want to be talking to myself. You people, come on now. Join in. Join in. This is my first live that I've done myself. I've participated in a couple with other creators, but this is my first time of doing one by myself. And I know that this is kind of an odd time, but it is the morning before all the celebrations begin. So everybody's getting ready to, go over to their friend or relative's house to celebrate today. And so I just thought this might be a good time if there's somebody out there who might just be struggling and just wondering how they're going to handle certain situations. Um, I know that it can be very difficult to, like, if you have someone in your life who maybe thinks that your way of eating is unhealthy, that you're not getting the vitamins and nutrients that you need. Uh, I have had that situation come up recently where someone had told me that I was going to harm my health because I wasn't getting the vitamins and nutrients that I need from my diet. And it can be awkward. And I think part of my problem was I was taken aback by the comments, and so I didn't really know how to respond. I was just surprised, and I didn't really have anything ready to just snap back with. And then, of course, the situation changed pretty quickly because there were other people around, and it wasn't the appropriate time to get into all that. So I did not. Um, I didn't respond appropriately, or I just didn't have a proper comeback, if you will, to educate the person or to give them some links or something, some ideas, someone that they could look up online to show that this is not dangerous, and in fact that we can get all of the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that we need out of meat. And not only that, we can also so we can take, or not take, but eat like cod liver or beef liver or chicken liver, any kind of livers like that, other organ meats, and get the nutrients that many people have to supplement for. So, like, for example, someone who had expressed some concern to me, they thought that it was gross that I was eating sardines and cod livers. And of course, my thought is, well, I'm eating those things and I'm getting nutrients that you're not getting, that you're actually taking supplements for. So it definitely can be a challenge. And so I just wanted to put myself out there. You guys, if there's anybody out there who just has a a challenge, just something that you want to talk about, that you want to get some advice maybe from some other folks. Like, I may not have been in your situation. Like, I can't advise on if you're having a weight loss stall or, some things like that, but I can certainly offer encouragement and love to you. And if there are other people out there who have been through your same situation, then you might be able to talk with them, in the chat, and maybe get some advice and input on how you can best handle a situation. So come on, you guys. I don't want to be talking to myself. That's a sign of insanity. And of course, it's even worse if you answer yourself. So I just want to just talk with you all, and just so come on, please join in. I would also like to hear if anybody's got any good plans, if they have any creative ways that they're maybe, like, for example, Chris Cooking Nashville has great, fantastic recipes, carnivore recipes that you can fix and take to gatherings like this. So maybe some of you all out there have tried some of these recipes. I would really like to try his mashed potatoes. I think that would be a fantastic thing to take to a gathering. And he also has a potato salad. And of course, especially here in the South, I mean, that's a staple is at any gathering like this is, 4th of July, Memorial Day, Labor Day, whatever it is. I mean, you got to have that potato salad. And I am willing to try those things. I've got to get better at cooking. I'm not going to lie. I don't find that I have a lot of patience with cooking, and I think part of that is because when I was growing up, my mother's kitchen was her domain, so she didn't want anybody in there helping her. So I really didn't have any instruction on how to cook things. That's just the way it was. And I don't really have a passion for cooking. I want to change that though, because I am capable. I can follow instructions. I can follow instructions. I can do that. It's just I think I lack a little bit of self-confidence in that area though, because I just don't do it that much. So, but anyway, I would like to try some of Chris Cooking Nashville's recipes. They look like they would be very good. And I was talking in a stream last night that, for example, mashed potatoes of any kind, really, but mashed potatoes, oh my goodness, that was a hard thing for me to give up. I could give up sweets. I could give up breads, but potatoes, for some reason, that was just it. Oh gosh, just a big bowl of mashed potatoes with some gravy just oozing over the sides. It was delicious. So yeah, that was just a difficult thing for me to give up. And the cauliflower mash, to be honest, does not really, I mean, it's okay. It could be worse, but quite honestly, it's kind of like the people eating fake meat. It's like, it just isn't the same. There's just no way it can be. So please, anybody, if you have any questions, concerns, situations that you might find yourself in, feel free to join in, and just, like I said, we can just talk with each other. We can, commiserate. If nothing else, we can vent. Sometimes it's not possible to have answers necessarily, and you just want somebody who can just identify with you in your situation, and you just want to get some things off your chest. So it's not at all like you're necessarily looking for a solution, although if you get one, it's a bonus. So Come on, people, join in. Let's see. And also, well, we can just talk about, I don't know. Does anybody have, I don't know, like maybe a favorite recipe or something that they have taken to events before and have gotten good feedback on? Um, I know that we don't eat the keto, like the keto treats and that sort of thing, but I think once in a while when you're at a special event or something like that, that it's fine to take something like that and to, have a few bites of it, as long as it doesn't trigger a response of, now you're craving sweets and you just decide you want to, eat a bunch of them. I do admit that I also find it difficult to pass up watermelon. I really do enjoy it. It's just, and it's a tradition, on these, whether it's the 4th of July or whether it's Labor Day, Memorial Day, that kind of thing. These summer events that we have, it is a tradition. Now, I will say that I think in some ways these times are easier for us to deal with than perhaps the like holidays like Christmas and Thanksgiving and things like that, because it's tradition to have hamburgers and hot dogs and ribs and barbecue and things like that. So in a big sense, it is easier to make it through days like this. But at the same time, there are all those desserts, and then of course many of us are around relatives, and that can be a challenge sometimes anyway. Even though we love them, we don't always agree with them. And I think a lot of times there are people who they speak out of love, but the way that they do it is not, it doesn't come across that way sometimes. So, like, for example, the person who had criticized my way of eating and said that I was not getting the nutrients that I needed from just meat. I do believe this person was speaking from concern and love. And I have lost a lot of weight, so I can understand why they might think that what I'm doing isn't healthy. So the fact that I have lost so much weight is kind of counterintuitive to what most people, when they are on this way of eating, because most people are trying to lose weight. So it would be a good thing if they lost a lot of weight. But just like with, for example, with vegans and vegetarians, especially the vegans, they don't get enough nutrition, and so they really do need to supplement a lot. And a lot of them are very thin and they don't have very good muscle, and so I can identify with them in that respect, because the same thing has happened to me. Only I'm eating carnivore. So it is kind of ironic that we in this community tend to think that folks who are eating vegan, especially, or vegetarian, many times aren't healthy and they don't look healthy. And yet I look at myself and I think, oh, gee, you're awful thin. You need to really concentrate on, um, just finding ways to, get to eat more. It's not that I don't eat much. I think I eat pretty well. It's just that, well, I apparently am not eating enough. So I had updated you all in my N=1. I did give up the seltzer water. I think that there is something in that stuff. I don't know what it is. There's supposedly just very minimal ingredients. There are no carbs. There's just a touch of flavor. For whatever reason, I was drinking a lot of seltzer water, and I would tend to reach for a seltzer water instead of thinking, okay, I really need to eat something. And that's easy to do when you have a desk job. I work in IT, and sometimes I'm in the middle of something and I don't want to get up to get a snack or to stop to just fix something to eat. So then I would just reach for my seltzer water. I've replaced the seltzer water with just filtered water, and I have found that I'm drinking a lot less water. I also had replaced, I just stopped drinking coffee, my coffee with the butter in it. And sometimes I used to put MCT oil in there too. And so I have stopped drinking that. And I have found that I am eating more. There again, though, it's a process. I think it's not going to happen overnight. So I'm continuing to do my body weight exercises, and I just I want my body, I want to look as good as I feel, because I feel fantastic. My energy levels are just through the roof. I'm more productive than I've ever been, I think. My anxiety is gone. And of course, that is my passion, is to just tell people, to tell the world that it is possible. You don't have to suffer with anxiety. You don't. There is a solution. Your brain and your body just getting all those healthy fats, and your body starts running on the ketones, and suddenly you can think better, you can handle situations better, you're calmer. And I have had some situations in the last few weeks that would have normally made me very anxious. I would have been ruminating over them. I would have been just constantly running over worst case scenarios on how they could end up. And I'm not going to say that I didn't have any stress involved with it, because that's not true. They were stressful situations, but I dealt with them so much better, and I wasn't anxious about it. So while these things were on my mind, it's not like they were consuming me. So I want to encourage and give people hope that you can overcome this. You can overcome your anxiety. You can get rid of it, and you can have all that energy. And, I'm 57. I've got a lot of life left to live, and I plan on living it. I can go to concerts now. I can work and then go to a concert that night. And it's not ideal to only get like 4 or 5 hours of sleep, but I can do that now. And I'm just fine. I'm still energetic, and I still can get things done. It's a great thing. And I just I wish that I could just somehow, like, I don't know, do a Spock mind meld with people and just say, okay, see, this is it. This is how this is the secret. This is the secret, and you can do it. So, well, I don't really see anybody joining in. I wish that someone had. I sort of had a feeling that there might be somebody out there who might need some encouragement today. And like I said, I can't speak from experience about like having weight loss stalls and things like that. But wait, it looks like there might be. Maybe I'm doing something wrong, because I'm not seeing any comments for some reason. But it looks like there are some people watching. Maybe I'm doing something completely wrong here. I don't know. Okay, well, you guys excuse my ignorance. Like I said, this is my first live stream. So the people who are in and watching, I'm so happy. Great. I'm not talking to myself after all. And maybe I can find the comments somehow to get them to come up, because or maybe nobody has commented. I don't know. That could be part of it. I don't know. I'm getting a message to click on a comment to show it on the screen, but I'm not seeing any. So I'm just not sure what is. No, this is awkward. I'll get my phone and see if anybody's commenting on here that way, because I'm not ignoring you. So you guys are my guinea pigs for my first stream. So, okay, sorry about that, you guys. I know this is, but you learn by doing, right? And then once I've done it, then, hey, okay, we got Who's Your Carnivore in here. I can see you guys now. All right, and we have Ron Priest. Hi, you guys. It is so good to see you. Looky here, I'm doing it. All right. So, you guys, do you have any challenges that you've overcome, maybe at a gathering? Maybe there's a relative or somebody that you've had to deal with that, and you know they're going to be there, and you're just like, oh man, and you know they're going to say something. Or maybe you know that Aunt Maggie's made that apple pie, and you're like, oh geez, it's hard to pass that up. Or if you're like me, and like I said before, I do not drink much alcohol at all. It's rare anymore that I drink any alcohol. But there are occasions like today where it's a hot day and it's a holiday and you're around friends and family and you want to have like a seltzer or a beer or something like that. I just I choose not to drink 99.9% of the time, and I don't want to drink anything today, but I know that it's going to be very tempting. So that is a challenge for me. So if anybody's got any kind of thing that they're concerned about today, before they go and celebrate with their friends and family, put it in the comments. If somebody wants to join me on this stream, if I can find where the link is, I can share it in the comments, and maybe somebody can join me, and then I won't be talking to myself. But now I know that you're here, so I'm not talking to myself. But it's just weird to. It's not like recording a video for some reason because, well, it just isn't. So, and I see that Ron is in Canada. So, hello, my Canadian friend. My dad is Canadian. Let's see, he lived in, I always get this mixed up. He lived in, it's not Alberta, crud. But Ron's going camping today for 3 days. Ooh. Okay, fat chopped chicken. Forgive my ignorance. Would you please tell me what that is? Because I don't know. I don't know what that is. But the ribs, ribs sound wonderful. What type of ribs, though? There are lots of kinds of ribs. So you can share what kind of ribs that you're going to have. I can't imagine that there's any kind that I wouldn't eat. And then Who's Your Carnivore says that he does a smoked spatchcocked turkey. Okay, so spatchcocked, is that a method of cooking, perhaps? If it is, it's no wonder that I don't know what it is. I'm not going to lie. If it's a cooking method, it's kind of understandable that I don't know what that is. So if you can, okay, let's see. You take the backbone out and crush it down flat over the grill. Okay. All right. I'll have to look that up. And I do need to try some things. And I guess what I'm going to do is just maybe gradually do. Oh, that's too funny. It's not like mountain oysters or something like that. Yeah. It's funny. I have a story about things that are not what they seem, so to speak. Years ago, of course, got to remember, I grew up in the suburbs. I was not a country girl. And my ex-husband, his people were in this area since the boat came over. And they, back then, the area that I live in now was considered country. It's an area outside of Nashville, but it was country. And so they ate a lot of things that I didn't. But on one particular occasion, I was eating some pork skins, and I loved pork skins and still do. And I asked my ex-husband, I said, what are these made of? And he just looked at me like, what is, are you really asking this question? And he says, pork skins. But think about this. Hot dogs are not made out of dogs. Okay. Hamburgers aren't made out of ham. So sometimes things are called something that doesn't really represent what they are. So that was, the joke was on me. Another time I offered to help peel turnip greens. Yeah, you don't peel turnip greens, but I didn't know the proper term to. So I'm sure they all got a kick out of my ignorance, and I just laughed because it was funny. I mean, it was like the little. I wasn't a city girl, but I definitely wasn't a country girl. And then gradually, just throughout the years, I became more and more of a country girl. I got involved in going camping, loved tent camping. We'd go running trot lines, and we would do jug fishing. So a lot of my family, because like my dad's side of the family is Canadian and my mother's side of the family was from the Midwest, from Nebraska. And so I was not a typical Southern girl. And people used to ask me where I was from because I didn't really have that typical Southern accent either. And then I guess just through osmosis, being around my ex-husband's family all the time, I just got to where I developed that Southern accent and Southern isms. Like I would say, I started saying stuff like I reckon. We didn't really say that in my household, and we really didn't say y'all either. So now I have a friend who is from like the mountains, and they say yuns. So they don't say y'all, they say yuns. So it's just funny about dialects and the way people talk in various parts of the country. And the same is true in the UK. They have various accents depending on where in the UK they're from. So it's fun and apparently like the regular English folks, the people in the UK get offended if they're mistaken for an Australian accent, for example, and vice versa. So apparently if you have a really discerning ear, you can tell the difference. So, all right, let's see here. Did I miss anybody? Mark Smith is here, and welcome. I'm glad you're here. I was on a live stream last night with Who's Your Carnivore, as a matter of fact, and we were talking about various things, and I believe what I'm going to start doing. Yes, okay. I'll get into that in a minute. But yes, this is from the Rush Signals Tour in 1982. And I saw them at the Municipal Auditorium in Nashville, Tennessee. I mean, back then, that was pretty much the only venue there was. That was before the days of Starwood and other, that was an amphitheater. And unfortunately, it's no longer around. But yes, and Rush was phenomenal. Seeing them, I did find a video from Exit Stage Left. That was an album, but there was also a video, and I was lucky to find that video. And it basically is the same concert that I saw, and just unbelievable. If you've never seen Rush, I regret that I didn't get to see Rush in the later years. That stayed together all that time. I mean, other than, when Neil Peart joined the band back in around the time, I guess it was right after Working Man actually was released. There was a drummer before Neil Peart, but after that, I mean, the same group was together all those years, and they were phenomenal. I've got videos of them throughout the years. Let's see. Oh, I'm never getting rid of my concert shirts. Now, I do wear them, but I'm not ever getting rid of them. No, I'm keeping my shirts, and they're great conversation pieces. That's sort of like the carnivore shirt that I designed and wore. I love my shirts, and I express myself a lot through them. And so when I wear, like, for example, I was wearing my Metamorphosis shirt, and people would ask me what that was. They'd say, "Oh, I like your shirt. What is that?" And then I would just tell them, "Oh, well, I have a YouTube channel, and I eat only meat." And then most of the responses have been pretty positive. So that's just one way that I can interact with people. Yeah. So, but no, my t-shirts are not ever going anywhere. I even have some that I've worn them so much they have like holes and stuff in them, and I still keep them anyway. I'll just wear them around the house if I'm not going anywhere or something. But what I was going to say is I believe I'm going to start doing a regular live stream. I need to figure out what would be a great time to do it, because I certainly don't want to interfere with anybody else's streams. And I want to give everybody the opportunity to participate. I want to do Meat and Metal Mondays, and maybe where people could come and unwind after a Monday day at work, something like that. So if anybody has any opinions on what would be a good time for that, I would appreciate it. I was thinking maybe like about between 4:30 and 5 Central Time, and maybe schedule it for about an hour. But just let me know. I like doing lives, I think, and especially if I can get more than one person to engage, like where we could have a conversation and then also participate with folks in the chat. I think that would be the ideal situation. Sometimes it is hard to talk when you don't see the other people, but I'm getting better. I went back and looked at some of my old videos, and let's see. Yes. MMM or M cubed. It could be M cubed. I'm a nerd. It's weird. I'm a creative nerd. I don't know how I ended up with, like, I love art. I love to draw. And I confess that I haven't been drawing as near as much. I used to in my younger years. I would draw a lot and paint, and I haven't. And I'm getting back into those things, and doing t-shirt design sort of helps me to get that out to express that creativity. So yes, I'm actually designing a thumbnail now for the Meat and Metal Mondays. And that's not to say that it would have to necessarily be limited to Mondays. We could take one of the M's off if we wanted to do it also on another day of the week. We could just have Meat and Metal. So anyway, if anybody would be interested in that, I'll throw some times out there. Just stick maybe a scheduled live up and just see what happens. Hopefully I'll have an audience and be talking to somebody instead of myself and my cat. Yeah, he doesn't give much feedback. All right. So what are y'all's plans today? I know that we've got Ron is going camping, and I love camping, and I think I would still like to go. I haven't been in years, but I would really like to go. And I used to, like I said, I always used to love to go. We would run trot lines and go jug fishing and stuff like that. And I miss those times. They were so much fun. Okay. Okay, anyone experiencing a sweet taste throughout the day? My weight loss has stalled, so I suspect I'm not doing enough to burn glycogen buildup. Hmm. I have actually had that sweet taste experience, and I'm really not sure what that is. If anybody who is in the stream could help Jason, I would very much appreciate it. Um, and unfortunately, I can't really say anything about weight loss stalls, but I can ask you, because I have heard other, like Dr. Berry and others will say, are you eating dairy? Sometimes dairy will stall people big time, and you don't really realize it, even though you're not having a reaction to dairy, like it doesn't bother you or it doesn't cause inflammation, but for whatever reason, when people eliminate dairy, they end that stall. Another thing that I have heard about stalls is that sometimes people are actually restricting their intake too much, and their body is just rebelling and just saying, no, you're starving me. And I know that carnivore is, we're told, eat until you're stuffed and eat plenty of fatty red meat. But some of us still, because of conditioning, think, oh, this might be too much. And so we restrict what we're eating. And it's really not a conscious thing. It's something that you really do have to overcome that. And then exercise routine. It could be too. Oh gosh. Okay. And I was actually talking about this earlier. I sort of have the opposite problem. Well, okay, I do have the opposite problem. I actually have lost too much weight on carnivore. But I was the tall, skinny kid, my brother and I both, in the 1980s. I was just what they call, I think it's a ectomorph. It's basically a body type, where you're just tall and very slim. Like mesomorphs tend to be more muscular, for example. So anyway, once I went carnivore, I lost too much weight. I didn't really have any weight to lose. I don't portion control intentionally. I've never been afraid of fat or meat, so I don't do that. However, I was drinking coffee with butter, and sometimes I would put MCT oil in there too, and it was stifling my appetite, so I wasn't eating that much. And it's a delicate balance, I think, because some of us, if you're trying to lose weight, you naturally think that you need to have less fuel in there. But then our bodies also are like, if you're starving me, then I'm not going to lose any weight because, I'm not going to lose any weight because it's not safe. That's not healthy for us. We need to conserve our energy. So putting a lot of cream in your coffee, the butter and cream and tallow and stuff like that I think it did for me. It stifled my appetite, which some of us want that. So, if you're having a stall, I wonder if that's part of it, because one would think that you would, let's see, how do I say this? You would think that you would restrict what you're eating in order to lose weight, and you do that to an extent, but then at a certain point that doesn't work. So I hope that makes sense. And the sweet taste. That's interesting. I didn't really realize that the keto breath can taste sweet. I have noticed the acetone smell on occasion. It reminds me of nail polish remover, which, acetone. And I'm like, and I remember when it first happened, when I first went keto, and I was like, gosh, why am I smelling? Because I didn't know. I was like, why am I smelling nail polish remover? This is weird. But okay, so the sweet taste is probably the keto breath. Wow, you learn something new every day. I didn't realize it would have a sweet taste. I didn't really think about it having any taste at all. So that's interesting. All right. So anyway, I hope that insight about weight loss helped. And at any rate, it is at least good to share your concerns. And there are probably some folks in the chat who have more, like I said, more experience with it. But I am certainly here to love and support you, regardless of whether I can advise you. I can at least be with you when you're going through challenges, and we'll just make it through together. And what I try to do, like what I say at work too, is somebody will ask me a question and I'll say, well, I don't know, but I'll find out, or I'll direct you to the person who can answer that question. So I'm always willing to help, but I just may not have the answers myself. All right. Does anybody else have any questions, comments, any challenges that they're facing today with friends, family, people that may not understand why you're eating carnivore, or they might be thinking that carnivore is not healthy? Anything that you want to talk about and get off your chest, even if you just want to vent. You can't fix the situation necessarily, but you just are like, I just am really tired of Aunt Susie. She just sticks her nose in. She sticks her nose in anyway, but now she really sticks her nose in and she's telling me what I need to eat. And I've never had anybody be like rude to me about it, but I have had a couple of people. Oh gosh. Okay. Yes. Hoosier. I hope you don't burn it either. That's what, we were talking about that last night, and I know I need to learn to cook steak. And so I did not get a steak for today because I'm not going to be eating at home today. However, at the same time, I am going to get a steak, and I've got a cast iron skillet. That's the best thing to cook in. That much I do know about cooking. I don't know much, but that's one thing that I do know. So what I'm going to do is I do plan on getting a steak, and then I'm going to cook it in the cast iron skillet and just see what happens. I've seen where people cook it frozen, but I'm going to watch a couple of videos about it too, just to make sure that I don't mess it up. But man, that tomahawk, I wouldn't want to mess it up, but I have a feeling you're not going to mess it up. I think it's going to be just fine. And I look forward to hearing how it is. Maybe you can, film a little bit of it, like when you're cutting into it, that nice first juicy, delicious bite, fatty. Boy, yeah, that sounds great. Okay, let's see here. Jason, he said, okay, this makes sense. I can go a day or two without eating, so the cream is the issue. That sounds logical to me. And I never have intentionally fasted. My mother actually told me that I ate every other day when I was really little. So I was intermittent fasting, and fasting before fasting was cool. But now, especially on carnivore, it is so easy for me to go, easily, 36 hours without eating. And sometimes I can even go all day. So I really have to be cognizant of that. So yeah, give that a try. Maybe go without eating the cream and see what happens there, and let us know. I'd be interested to find out, and it might help other people too who are having that same problem. All right. Let's see. Are we allowed to call it a tomahawk steak? Well, that's debatable, but you can call it that here. uh, I Yeah, we all know. So that's funny. Yeah, and you have to laugh. I mean, what else are you going to do? Um, we were talking in another stream yesterday about the food groups and the fact that the food groups really aren't what they used to be. And I'm not saying that the food groups were necessarily a good idea, but we used to have meat, dairy, fruits, and grains. And now there really isn't a meat group. Some people still call it the meat group, but the My Plate calls it the protein group. And the protein group now has beans and legumes and stuff like tofu in it. And vegetarians can just ignore the advice to eat meat. So yeah, things have changed for sure. Okay, let's see. We have Anne used a cast skillet in her little oven, but got tired of burning herself. We go, oh yeah. So she bought an air fryer. Now, oh my gosh, see, and I get, paralysis analysis or analysis paralysis about that. I just, I don't have a whole lot of counter space for one thing, so I have to be very careful about what I put in my kitchen because otherwise it can just get really cluttered looking. So I would like to get an air fryer, I think. And my daughter has this other thing, and I'm not exactly sure what it's called. And she makes hamburgers and steaks and stuff in it, and it's got a grill in it, and it's very easy to clean. It's not a Foreman grill. It's a very popular thing, but I just don't remember off the top of my head what it's called. I know I started to get one. She had gotten hers at Kohl's, but she is one of these bargain hunters, and she had Kohl's cash and discounts. Then she caught it on sale, so she got hers for like $100. And then when I looked into getting one, it was going to be like, I don't know, over 300. And I was like, yeah, I'm not buying that today. So let's see. Oops. Wait a minute. We're going back to Hoosier here. Had some big questions from people at my 35-year class reunion a couple months ago. I was much thinner than at the 25 years, so people noticed and asked pointed questions. So were they receptive? Sounds like they were. And that's the funny thing. People who have to brag or tell people what they do are not nearly as effective as the people who can show. You just demonstrate. You just show people. You just live by quiet example. And it's funny how next thing you know, people will just start asking you questions. And when you do talk to people, you focus on your story. I don't know if any of you all follow Dave Ramsey. I'm a Dave Ramsey gal, and I got out of consumer debt in 2013, and then I actually paid off my mortgage back in 2018 by following Dave Ramsey. And so anybody, I would totally recommend, his whole philosophy, and especially, the goal is to build wealth and give, and that's what I want to do. I want to be a giving person and a loving person, and to help others. But anyway, that's not exactly the point. But what I was getting at is when people, it's sort of like discovering carnivore. When people would discover Dave's plan and realize that this really does work and you can get out of some serious debt. I mean, people have paid off phenomenal amounts of money, and they want to tell other people, like they have other people in their lives who may be struggling with money, and they have payday lenders, just all kinds of loans, lots of credit card debt, whatever it happens to be. And especially a lot of people want to talk to their parents, for example. And there's a thing called powdered butt syndrome, which means basically that if you've powdered somebody's butt, you don't want to hear their opinion on sex and money and diet for that matter. So, but he says to just live by quiet example. And if you ever do talk about it, you talk about it as it pertains to you, like, oh, this really helped me. I was so stressed. And then I started doing this. And so this can also apply to carnivore too, and to really anything in your life that you believe helps you, whether it's finding Christ, anything like that. Just live by quiet example, because people will want what you have. If you have a sense of peace and happiness, and uh, you're radiating that love and that joy, people will want to know. They want to know, and they'll ask. People will definitely ask. All right. Anne says, I have little counter space too. Oh, well, that's encouraging. I put away all appliances except for the air fryer and coffee maker. Okay, I'm going to sound like a lazy person here. But if it's too much trouble for me to get things out and put them away, I'm not going to do it. So it's easier for me to just have fewer things. So whatever I get is probably going to stay on the counter, so that I don't have to worry about, sticking it back on a shelf. Or like there for a while, I had my crock pot. I had this big crock pot, and I would get it, take it down and put it back up on this shelf. And it was just a hassle to do. And so now my crock pot just stays out. It just does. But that's me. I know myself, and I make things easier. Whatever I can do to make my life simpler and easier, then that's what I do. All right. Anybody else? Let's see. She only uses the coffee maker, air fryer, and egg steamer. Now, I have thought about getting an egg steamer. I might do that. I've actually been thinking about that. I did get a chaffle maker, and actually it really is. It's just, one of the little waffle makers, and I got it on clearance. Because it was a seasonal one. It was one, I think it was in the shape of pumpkins. I have not tried to make chaffles yet, but my daughter makes them. She is much more industrious in the kitchen than I am, and she tries recipes. And that girl, she can just, it's amazing. She's always been able to do this. She can just take random ingredients and just put it together and make a great meal out of it. But maybe I have that ability too, if I had ever been nurtured in that way, but I wasn't. Oh, all right. Let's see. B-Dog. All right. Always uses a cast iron. That's the best thing to cook in. And of course, I don't eat cornbread anymore. And I've been thinking about trying, like I said, Chris Cooking Nashville has a lot of great carnivore friendly recipes. The thing is, though, they seem to be very involved. And now maybe if you've done it a couple of times and you get into the routine of it, and maybe you can do some pre-prep. That's like preparing to prep. I don't know. But anyway, you can do some prep in advance and then maybe make it easier. So I'm going to look on his channel and see. I would like to try the mashed potatoes, for example. I have heard rave reviews about those mashed potatoes, and it would be great to have something better than cauliflower mash to have for potatoes. And of course, I haven't had the cauliflower mash in a long time because I'm carnivore now. But if I can have some carnivore mashed potatoes, I am all in. All right, let's see. Ann says, since I no longer use the skillet, I needed another way to cook eggs. Yeah. And quite honestly, if there's an easy way to cook eggs, I'm all for it. Oh, it's terrible. I mean, I am good at a lot of other things, y'all. Unfortunately, I think I could be good at cooking if I gave myself a chance. I'm not going to say that I just stink at it, because, like, for example, when was, I don't know, it was last fall. I had some family come over and we had chili. And now I tend to make my chili without beans now. I do make a great chili. I will say that. So I suppose if I have a specialty of anything that I cook, it would be chili. But yes, it is beanless. And technically speaking, competition chili does not have beans in it. And it's also not chicken chili either. All right. Okay. And it says she is not a clever cook, so I keep it simple. Well, then you are my sister from another mister, because I'm not a clever cook either. I believe, like I said, I believe I could do it, and I believe anybody could do it if they really wanted to. And that's the thing, is just, do you want to? I really want to, and I need to, because I think maybe I would. I don't know. Like, for example, I would truly enjoy a steak. Like, I love a steak when, if somebody else cooks it, I'm more than happy to eat it, and I love it. It's just, unfortunately, I have not up until this point cooked steak. Yes, that's right. I've never cooked a steak. When I was married, my ex-husband always cooked it. So, and he always made barbecue and stuff like that. So I would make simple things. Like, I could make mashed potatoes and stuff like that, for example. But in terms of, cooking the meats, I was never really good at that. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's see. They were amazing. Do it. Watch the whole video first. Okay, I will do that. Because if I can get some carnivore mashed potatoes, I'm in. Maybe I can make up a big giant batch and freeze some of them, and then I would just have them on hand. All right, let's see. Hoosier loves cooking in cast iron. Oh gosh, that's funny. My son does that. He buys and restores them. My son cooks on cast iron. My son I think he was born in the wrong century for a lot of reasons. But he cooks on a campfire. He's always been fascinated with cooking like that, cooking meats. And part of that, I think, is because his dad also would do that too. But like, he smoked, I was talking before about how I fell into carnivore, and my neighbor had given me a bunch of meats, and one of them was a big chub of bologna, and my son smoked it for me, and oh my gosh, it was so delicious. So yeah, put together a set of antique Griswold skillets from the 1930s. Oh wow, now that's cool. That is cool. I'll have to ask my son if he has any Griswold. What is that? Lodge is the big one around here. There's, I think it's is it Pittsburgh, Tennessee, where there's a Lodge factory and an outlet and that kind of thing. So, but anyway, yeah, Lodge is big around here. Okay. Hey, Carnivore Transformer, good to see you. Glad you're here. Glad you're here. We're just having a general conversation, but I sort of started this stream just talking about on holidays. It is, times like this, sometimes it can be very difficult. You're around family who might be a little vocal about your way of eating, or you can just be facing some personal challenges in terms of, oh gosh, I want some of Aunt Mabel's apple pie, and it's very tempting. Or you might even want some of that watermelon. Like, that's a big one for me. I'm not going to eat any today, but I can tell you that it's going to be there, and I'm going to want some. So, and just commiserating about various things. And I've also been talking about the fact that I can't be a true carnivore if I can't cook a steak. So I'm going to have to do that. All right, let's see. B-Dog, never cooked until the 2020. Oh, yes, the thing that shall not be named. Yeah. Yes, I did cook a little bit more then. Of course, there again, to be honest, I never really cooked that much to begin with, and the easier it was. And I think that's part of the reason why I was able to slide into carnivore when I did, when my neighbor gave me all that boxed meat. Some of it was pre-cooked meat, and hey, that was easy, right? You just stick it in the microwave. Like some of it was pre-cooked bacon. There was Canadian bacon. Oh my gosh, there was so much of it. And one reason why I was eating on it was because I didn't have very much room in my freezer to freeze it. So I was just focusing on eating all that meat. I didn't want it to go to waste. All right, let's see. And when I finish BB&E, I'm sure I'll try recipes to add variety. And boy, I can tell you I eat Vienna sausages. I eat, let's see, hot dogs, bologna. Yes, I do. I eat those things. But now what I do as another part of my N=1 experiment, I bring like a little container, and I just have like a couple of hot dogs in it, some bologna, and I'll have maybe a little pack of Vienna sausages, and I'll just have them up here by my desk. And then that way, when I'm working, if I'm hungry, I can actually eat that instead of reaching for my water. And I have found I am eating more, so we'll see how this whole N=1 thing goes. All right. Oh, campfire cooking. Oh, and when you cook, fish, like fish that you've caught. Now I never cleaned the fish. I did help cook the fish, but I never cleaned them. That is one thing that I did cook on the campfire was fish. That just occurred to me. I did. Interesting. And oh yeah, bacon and eggs and just cooked on. Oh yeah, that sounds delicious. That sounds really good. Uh, I loved camping. I just loved the whole atmosphere, and I loved being out in nature and the just somehow just communing. I don't know, the communing with nature. I love the night sounds, and when we would run trot lines and stuff like that. Of course, you're going out in the night, and so it would just be beautiful. You'd see the moon reflecting on the water, the stars. You'd hear the all the crickets and the night sounds, and it was just wonderful. And I miss it. I would love to go tent camping again. I think I could do it, especially now that I'm carnivore. I don't think it would. Excuse me. I don't think it would give me aches and pains or anything to sleep on a sleeping bag, but I would be willing. Maybe I could try it for like just a night or two. So I'll see if I can find somebody to go tent camping with me. I don't know. My daughter lectured me last night about my diet. It happens. Yes, it does. It does. And what I really try to do in those situations is I try to think that person is coming to me out of love. And a lot of times, and it doesn't, ugly behavior is not excusable. However, sometimes something can come across a little harsher than it was meant to be, and they're speaking out of love. So just remembering that can help you deal with it, but it's not fun. It is not fun, but hopefully your daughter will see the improvements and how much better your quality of life is. And once that happens, then maybe your daughter will come around to your way of thinking, or at least start working their way toward that. And it could happen. Oh, having hot dogs today. Me too. I'll probably have hot dogs. I believe my daughter is making steak today. But I will definitely probably have a burger patty and hot dog. Generally speaking, what happens is that you'll kind of munch throughout the afternoon, or at least that's kind of how it works for us. Like somebody, that people grill up a big bunch of burgers and dogs, especially for the kids, and reach over there and grab one periodically. That's kind of how we do it. And then we will have the sit down, or the meal where you actually are just like, I guess not necessarily a scheduled meal time, but you know what I mean, where everybody, it's just kind of time for everybody to eat. But throughout the day, the kids are playing on the slip and slide and all that stuff. And, you just might eat a burger or a dog, just pick one off the plate. Or maybe we're just barbarians. Maybe that's not the proper way to do it. All right. Hoosier says, I am going to try to hold out for dinner tonight. One meal today. Oh, I believe you could do it. I think so. It is so much easier. Think about this. What an accomplishment to be able to do that, because before, when we were so carb dependent, you would just have to eat every couple of hours, have something to eat. And now you can just casually say, yeah, I think I'm gonna, I'm just not gonna eat until this evening. And it doesn't really affect you any in terms of your energy or anything else. Isn't that wonderful? I mean, carnivore is just so freeing when you think about it. I am going to be upfront and say that I never really have been obsessed with food or anything like that. So I can't speak from experience with it, but I can say that you just don't think when you're on carnivore, you just don't really, it's not the first thing on your, once you actually get keto adapted and everything, you don't really concentrate, or you just don't think about food. And it does take a while, from what I understand from, other folks that I've talked with and interacted with. It does take a while to where the cravings and things like that go away. But then once they do, and you don't even have to worry about food. You don't, oh gosh, I need to eat. I'm starting to get hangry. And of course, when you're hangry, generally what you need to eat, what your body's telling you to eat, because your blood sugar is plummeted, and your body's telling you to eat you some carbs when that happens. I don't get hangry on carnivore. When I'm hungry, it's a different sensation. And I've been hangry before. All right, we have Anne did OMAD yesterday. So she wasn't hungry. And at about supper time, she combined the lunch menu with the supper menu. Ooh. And she feels good so far today. I like hearing that. Like that. Okay. And then B-Dog does OMAD every now and then, but never before. Yeah, that is so true. When you're just carb dependent, I mean, I always like back, like before 2015, before I went low carb, I would have those granola bars in my drawer, and I would just snack on them. I would eat oatmeal for breakfast. This is no lie. I had oatmeal for breakfast. And then in the mid-morning, I would have one of those granola bars. And then at lunch, it would depend. But I mean, there would be some kind of meat, but there would ultimately be like mashed potatoes. There would be, I ate a lot of mashed potatoes. But you see what I'm saying? Then in the afternoon, there would be another snack of some sort like that. I mean, it would be what I thought was, or kind of was under the impression was, a healthy snack. It might be another granola bar. That's generally what it was. But you get my point. So you just, every couple hours or so, you would have to snack. And now I don't even think about it. And we all probably ate that way. Yeah, because that was what we were told, and that was what was healthy. Definitely. All right. So does anybody else have anything that they want to talk about today? Feel free. I'm here to offer love and support to anybody who needs it. And I will advise you the best I can. And if I don't know the answer, I will definitely direct you to someone who I think will. Everybody's welcome in this group. And I do say I am carnivore. And this group is, kind of like, or my channel is a support for carnivores. But, if you're curious about carnivore and you may be wondering, should I do it? Should I go there? Hey, you're welcome to join too. Everybody is welcome. We can answer any questions you have. We can advise you the best we can. and share our experiences. Like, for example, for me, and I know I sound like a broken record, I no longer have anxiety. And just a few months ago, me doing a channel like this just would never have happened. Never. It wouldn't. Um, I would have just been nervous, scared. I would be afraid that I would look stupid, uh, very self conscious. And now I'm not. Um, so maybe I do look stupid. I don't know, but it's okay. I'm having a great time and I love interacting with everybody. It's just, I feel like I have found my tribe, y'all. And I'm so happy. It just, and I feel like I found my purpose now. I want to educate people about carnivore. I also want anybody, like I know Primal Mike is a person who is also trying to gain weight while on carnivore. And there are a few of us out there. And I want, if there is somebody like that that's out there that just wants some support and maybe some ideas for things to try N=1, or if they have some N=1 things that they have tried. I mean, we're all a big family here. And when you have a family, you have different types of people. That's just the way it is. So we can all join in together. We can all join in together. B-Dog, yes, catching the lives today. I enjoyed lives. I think this is my preferred format. I love talking and interacting with people. I do enjoy making videos, but this is so much more fun because I actually get to see people. And I'm so happy that I'm not talking to myself, you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, and if you would, please do like and share. That way, I don't know, it pleases the YouTube algorithm and that sort of thing. But I do want to get the word out, y'all. I do. And I think the more of us who are out there talking about it, and we can provide a forum for people who ask questions. This is my purpose. I want to spread the word and I want to help as many people as I can because I hate seeing the suffering. I hate it. And people who have to suffer or who are suffering from anxiety and they don't know that there's a better way, or they think that they have to take medication. And there may be, and I'm not a doctor, just so none of this is medical advice, and you definitely need to work with your physician. So don't just suddenly stop taking anxiety medicine if you're on it. But I will say this, you at the very least, you would need less medication. I truly believe it. I never took anxiety medication. I will say though that I probably needed it, or I needed something. It's just I suffered in silence. I didn't tell anybody. I just sucked it up. And that's sad. I always just tried to be an optimistic person, and I faked it till I made it. But it was tough. I mean, at times it was tough. All right. Anne says, I did notice my anxiety level dropped, but I still have spikes. And that will happen. That'll happen sometimes. And I think also, though, that will get better. I cannot pinpoint exactly when it was that I noticed that my anxiety was gone. But I can tell you that, let's see, I started carnivore in December of 2022. And it has been months since I've had an anxiety attack, an actual attack. Now, have I felt a little bit of anxiety? I have felt like a twinge of it, like maybe it's there and the carnivore doesn't let it out. Or maybe the ketones don't let it out. I've had some pretty stressful things happening, like, for example, challenges with finding a place for my dad to live. I had plumbing issues, just some things that have happened in the last few days, last couple of weeks. So so I have had times of anxiety, but at the same time, it wasn't like anxiety attacks, and it wasn't just that feeling of of fear and where you can't catch your breath and that kind of thing. It was more like you were aware of it, but it didn't consume you. I don't know if I'm explaining that very well, but I do believe that anybody who is suffering from anxiety can at least have some kind of an improvement from it if it doesn't completely eliminate it. And it's important to let people know the health benefits. It is. The more of us that share, like I know I've heard Sean from Intentional Carnivore and various ones talk about the comments on Dr. Berry's videos, and those comments are powerful. Dr. Berry, you saved my life. I had type 2 diabetes. I had an A1C of 11.2 and now it's 5.1. I mean, and tons of stories like that. So it's not just one or two comments, although, depending on your audience. I mean, obviously you're going to have more comments if you, have a wider audience. But think about that, hundreds and hundreds of comments like that. So sharing and getting the word out, and like I said, being a light and a joy, I believe will do a lot toward spreading the word and to getting people to say, what is it about them? They seem so happy. They're in a good mood. And this is not to say that it's all going to be unicorns and rainbows. Like the situations that I've dealt with in the last few weeks have not been pleasant. So I can't just say, I'm just so happy that I was dealing with all this crap. Some of it was literal crap. However, I can say that it makes it a whole lot easier to deal with. Your frame of mind is better. You stop and you think more clearly. Okay, do you good people fast? I believe a lot of people who are on here do. I don't fast intentionally. I do like intermittent fasting, and it's not, but that's still not really intentional. It's just that I'm not hungry, and so I generally don't eat until I'm hungry. Although my challenge again is I actually need to gain some muscle. So I'm trying to eat more in order to, add some substance and some shape to my body. But I'm pretty sure that most of the folks who are here probably do at least intermittently fast, if not, fasting like for, 24 or 72 hour fasts, things like that. Excuse me. All right. My sister and her husband are morbidly obese and on insulin, eat carbs all day. Oh man, can't walk well, won't listen. It's awful. And it is, it's so, you hate to see it. You want to just shake them. I believe everybody who's on here would be able to identify with that. You just want to shake these people and you just want to say, I can help you do this. And it's difficult. But there again, I'm sure you already know that just being kind and living by example, and quite honestly, it hurts to see people that you love doing things that's harmful for them. It hurts. And that can be in any area of life. But I think that as long as they know that you're there and that you love them, if there's a chance that it's going to happen, it's going to be because of that. Yeah. Who's your carnivore? I've never had anxiety, but I have noticed a big improvement in mood and positivity. I have noticed the same thing. It's like my outlook on life is just, I'm eager to face the day. I want to go on my walk. I want to see what things I can get into and create and do for the upcoming day. I think a part of that might be because it's sort of like which came first, the chicken or the egg, because it does build upon itself in the positive thinking arena, which I happen to have been watching quite a few of those videos and things for the past few months too. And what you think of, you do tend to attract in your life. And it's not to say that if you think about money all the time, you're going to attract money. It's not quite like that. But the point is, like, carnivore made me feel so much better. And then because I felt so much better, I wanted to do more things. And when I started doing more things, I found joy in those things. And then it just builds upon itself. And so my attitude about just greeting the day is just so much better, and it just feeds on itself. And oh yes, the Q&As with Dr. Berry, those are, I watch them. I do. And I'm a member of his group. So I see he does a Tuesday live for the group, and I watch that as well. Dr. Berry is just, and I was fortunate enough to meet Dr. Berry and Nisha last weekend at the Low Carb for Better Health conference in Dixon, Tennessee. It was actually in Montgomery Bell Park. It was a great event. I went with my daughter. She vacillates between low carb and keto. I think part of the reason she hasn't gone total like keto and carnivore partially is due to my grandson. He's 15. It's very difficult when you have other family members and you cook for them and things like that. Although my evil twin would say, if you don't like what I fix, don't eat it. I think that's what I would say. Once in a while, my evil twin comes out. But anyway, I did meet Dr. Berry and Nisha, and they were so nice and genuine. They truly do care, y'all. They truly care. And I just am so, I'm just so blessed that I found them. I can't really say how long it's been now that I've been following them, although I joined their group earlier this year after I went carnivore. And they have so much information out there, and they do have some great videos. And I've actually been toying with trying Nisha's chicken nugget recipe, only doing it with chicken livers. I've toyed with that idea. That looks like that would not be very difficult to make. Isn't that awful? All right, y'all. Hey, I'm just being upfront with you. This is me. Hello, low carb carnivore. All right. And then we have Anne. Anne's eating window is where her body is settled into naturally. That's me. Like I said, I am trying to, eat a little bit more. And part of the way I'm doing that is by trying to eat just a little bit earlier in the day, not having quite as narrow of a fasting window. But I can tell you that generally speaking, I'm not hungry until about 11 in the day. And then generally my last meal is around, like the last time that I eat is generally like around 4 in the evening, 4 to 5. A lot of times I'm not logged out at 4 yet. Yeah, my day starts early and ends late a lot of times. Okay. Yeah, that I can tell you, B-Dog, that is a wonderful supportive group, and they are actually going to have like even more people. They have what they call mentors within the group, and the mentors are actually going to have like little mini groups within. So like if you have a mentor that you particularly connect with, who may have overcome issues similar to what you're going through, for example, you can join in. It'll be like little subgroups that you can join in. And they also have like carnivore challenges. They have just all sorts of different activities. And then there's a general feed where you can just post general questions. So I really do think that you would like it. I believe you would like it. Low carb carnivore says, same here. I eat when I'm hungry. Most of the time it falls into the 16-8 window. I think many of us can definitely find that that's true. That's definitely true for me. And yes, Dr. Berry and Nisha's group. Yep. is fantastic. And I'm just in the $5 a month group. You do get access to all the subgroups and everything, but then there are the main difference between the different tiers is just the more live videos. So like we get an extra live video at the $5 a month level. And you also, if you pay for it in advance, you save a month. So and plus I just went ahead and did that because that way I wouldn't have to worry about accounting for that each month, having it come out of my check or out of my account. Yes, I love Two Crazy Ketos. I'm not in their group or anything, but I love watching their material. They are so encouraging and they're so cute. They are so cute, just the way they interact with each other, and they're so enthusiastic and they're just happy. And hey, I just identify with them. I really do, especially the not cooking part. She doesn't cook much. So I'm like, yeah, all right. I am just so glad you guys joined me today. That just has brightened up my day. It is almost 11 Central Time, and I know a bunch of you all have got places to go and people to see. And just try to tell yourself today that if anybody says anything, and believe me, I have to take my own advice, okay? Yeah, it's so easy. Even Rachel can do it. Yeah, just substitute my name in there. It's so easy. Even Carrie can do it. It's too funny. Oh, too funny. So, but anyway, you guys, if you run into a situation, and I have to take my own advice, I do, and I'm not saying it's easy, but really practice coming and thinking about this. Like, for example, if your daughter criticizes your way of eating, your daughter loves you and your daughter doesn't want to see you do anything that hurts you. And the conditioning we have is very deep and very real. People are scared to death of saturated fat. They're scared to death of eating meat. And I mean, it's getting worse. I mean, and, kids are being told this stuff in school now. And, you have meatless Mondays now, and you have, some cities and, school districts are starting to do things like that. So, we have been indoctrinated. So just remember that. And so when people are concerned, they're speaking out of love, and they think that you are harming yourself. And so just politely nod your head. Dave Ramsey talks about the bobblehead. Just do the bobblehead and just politely nod, and then you just go on and now if somebody is just truly nasty, you just walk away. I mean, I have a relative who is like that, and it's not just about diet. It's about a lot of things, and she's just nasty. That's just how she is. I really think a carnivore diet would do this person really well. Oh, and yes, stay strong, everyone. Life is too short to not love yourself, or not to love yourself, and that is so true. And self-love is difficult. We're typically told that we're selfish, and it's not that kind of love. It's because we have to. If we love ourselves and we feel that, then it's easier then to demonstrate it to others. And it's something that I'm working on. Not going to lie, but I consciously try to do, or I am consciously working on that. There is no try, just do, right? That's a bad paraphrasing of Yoda. But anyway, there is no try, do. Okay. Yep. I have a niece that is vegan. Oh boy. And here's the thing, the propaganda has led your niece to believe that this is the best way to eat. And honestly, in the beginning, that's probably true, especially if she'd been eating sad, junk foods and stuff like that. Then when you eliminate things from your diet, then for a while there, you do feel better. but then it creeps in because you really aren't getting nutrients. You have to be very careful. Vegans can get, but boy, they have to supplement out the wazoo. I mean, they have to really supplement, and so it's tough, but oh yeah. Change the crappy attitude with a steak. That's what the world needs. More steaks, people, and more fatty meat. More fatty meat, fatty red meat. I was on Whole Foods plant-based during the time that we cannot mention. I thought it was burnout, but after 1 month of carnivore, I realized I was nutrient deficient. Isn't that amazing? Like I said, I feel better than ever. And perhaps there are vegans out there who are energetic. I really haven't seen any. And you hate to, I do not want to ever judge. I don't. If people truly feel good and that is what it takes for their body, then I am happy for them. At the same time, I know that I have never felt better. I know I do. I'm a little skinny and I'm working on it. But in terms of just frame of mind, joy, anticipation of life, carnivore has changed everything. And I honestly believe that this whole world is eating too much plant-based, and especially grains. Gosh, if we just eliminated the grains, think about the improvement. The grains and seed oils alone, if we just eliminated those things, well, okay, added sugar. We can just added sugar. If we eliminated those things, people and instead told people that they could eat fatty red meat and give them all of those nutrients that their brain is just starved for. I truly believe a lot of us just are starved. Our brains are just, and this is why do you think all these, now there's people being diagnosed with, dementia, like in their 40s and 50s. I mean, this is terrible. This didn't used to happen. This is, 40, 50 years ago, you were in your 80s if you got dementia. Now it's just creeping younger and younger. I mean, pretty soon we're just going to be born with it. Oh, yes. And I have never felt better either. I haven't. And I believe most of us can say the same thing. And so if we demonstrate that to others and welcome people into our group and just be willing to answer questions and to be supportive, then I think we can change things. And it's going to take doing it from the bottom up, but we can do it. We can do it. All right, you guys, I know you've got places to go, people to see, and I am just thrilled that you guys joined me today. Let's see, we got a comment from Ann here. All of our ailments have vanished. Blood pressure is normal. Glucose and A1C have dropped. There we go. There we go. And see, preach it. Don't preach it, but just sharing your story in comments and how it's benefited you, that's the key. All right, you all, thanks again for joining me. I just appreciate you all so much. And if you would like this video, I would appreciate that as well. And if you feel that there's any benefit in any of my videos, please share those as well. And thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see y'all next time. Thanks, y'all. Bye-bye.